What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So, if you didn't see in the past couple of days, Terra Luna Classic made a pretty huge move, right? And it came off of honestly not the most positive news that we could see, but my take is that the reason why we saw that major news or major movement was because that Terra Luna Classic was in the news at all, right? It's known right now that Terra Luna Classic just doesn't have as much of like word of mouth or things that are happening for it. We saw all the things that have happened before and many people that have talked about it, and many times that when it runs, a YouTuber will talk about it, or when something happens with FTX, right? Terra Luna Classic is in the news, whether it's good or bad. You still see the major movement for that position. But lately, we haven't really seen much movement. The last really big jump we saw was in like 2023, December of 2023. Last year, we expected to see the same pump at the end of the year, but we didn't end up seeing that. And now, this year in December, we started to see a little bit, which could translate to more depending on how much FOMO goes into it, how much news is actually out there, and all of that, right? But for this position, I firmly believe in it, right? Even though it hasn't experienced a crazy amount of volume like it used to, it doesn't really have many people talking about it like it used to. I still believe in it heavily because it has use case as well as that popularity, right? And not just regular popularity. We're talking about meme coin level popularity. So, if you don't know, in the past maybe couple of months, it might have been a month or so, I ended up making another investment into Terra Luna Classic, right? I took some of the profit that I had from before and threw it back into Terra Luna Classic to give me more coins in the end because it's at a great price that I could obtain a lot of coins for a lower cost. Now, this past weekend, or a couple of days ago, we saw Terra Luna Classic run because of this news. And I want to talk about the news. I want to talk about how much I have. And more specifically, I want to talk about my exit plan, which I think is important to know where I plan to sell my Terra Luna Classic, what I see is going to happen with it, and if we're going to see a full recovery algorithm back in place and USTC repegged, all of those things. So, with that being said, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also, make sure you check out any of my links down below for Twitter, or if you guys want to check out my link for BTCC, that will be at the top of the description. If you guys specifically use my link, you will get a 10% deposit bonus on your first time deposit, as well as extra bonuses all the way up to $10,055. And they also have a giveaway going on. If you, again, specifically use my link, you can sign up, deposit, and trade between December 5th and December 31st. And if you are chosen, you could win 500 USDT. Now they're going to give away 1,000 to split between two people, so 500 USDT between two people. If you sign up, deposit, and trade, you will be entered to win that giveaway. So feel free to check it out. Link is at the top of the description. I've been using this platform for over a year and it's been great. But we're here to talk about Terra Luna Classic. Terra Luna Classic in the last 24 hours hasn't really experienced the same level of growth that it saw in the past week or couple of days. It currently is sitting at 0.000052, which honestly was a level that I saw in the past as that average level where it was really starting out at, not fully starting out at, but seemed like it hovered and stayed flat at, to increasing to dropping a zero. But in the past week, it's up by 107%. And the market cap is at a $287 million market cap. In the past 24 hours, we experienced $153 million worth of volume, and the overall circulating supply is at a 5.5 trillion circulating supply. Now, if I had to give my opinion on where I believe that this is going, right, I believe that we're going to see a minimum, right, of a level of a drop zero. So basically a 2x from where we are. I expect to see 10% of a penny, all the way up to about 3 cents during this bull run, because a 1 cent price point is about a $50 billion market cap for something that has use case, that has the popularity, that has 1 million people that have it on their watch list, as well as so many people in the community that are continuing to believe. 86% of the community sentiment of 223,000 votes are saying that, 86% are saying that this is bullish, right? So they're very hype about it. Now, the reason why we saw this level of an increase of 107%, which actually was a little bit more, I think it was up to like 130, 140%, is because of this, right? Luna Classic doubles as Do Kwon faces 12 years in prison, right? This is something that brought a lot of eyeballs to Terra Luna Classic again. And it's not necessarily the most positive thing, but it is bringing Terra Luna Classic back into the news, knowing that it's in a governmental conversation as well as, court battle in a way, right? Now, do I know if there's going to be a pardon or if there's going to be, if Do Kwon is going to spend his, years in prison or if he's going to get a lesser sentence? Do I know that? No, I don't. But it is something that's creating a little bit of buzz, a little bit of hype, a little bit of interest. So that's what makes it interesting for me and a lot of other people. But MetaMask, right? This is where I hold my Terra Luna Classic. I currently hold 103.35 million Terra Luna Classic. That's in my possession. I used to have 54 million. So what do I plan to do with that as I see all of these things happen, right? Get to 10% of a penny, get to 50% of a penny, get to 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, all of those levels. Now, I'm going to show you my exit plan spreadsheet, which I'm going to bring up. Here's my exit plan spreadsheet. So it starts out at 0.00005. You're going to see the circulating supply actually is at a little bit of an increase. Let me just put 5.5 because we did see some that either got staked or burned off as well. But 5.5 trillion, you're looking at 103.35 million in my possession. So this is what I'm going to do. At a level of a drop zero, which would be a $5.5 billion market cap, I will, actually, at a level of 2 drop zeros, not 1 drop zero, because 1 drop zero would be right here. I don't plan on doing anything as we see 1 drop zero. But as we get to a more competitive level, which would be another drop zero, this would be a $5.5 billion market cap, which means my value of $103 million would be $103,000 off of a $43 investment that I made from the beginning. Now, there's a lot of things that have happened because I took profit, put some of that profit back in at the bottom. Either way, my initial investment was only $43, and I'm making all of these moves based off of that $43 that I started with. So that $43 turned into $103,000 to a $5.5 billion market cap. Now, as you see, I move forward to 30% of a penny, 50% of a penny, 80% of a penny. All of these levels, I will be taking some profit, a decent size at that, right? $15,000, $50,000, $100,000, that's there. Leaving me with about 55 million coins as it gets up to 1 cent. Now, when it gets up to 1 cent, I will take 30 million coins, which will be $300,000. Total up to 1 cent will be about $485,000 that I could take in profit. Now, know that I would have to pay taxes on all of that, depending how long this takes place. I did have to sell and rebuy, kind of, because instead of sending it or transferring it over, it was a whole mission, and I'll talk about that maybe in another video as we move forward. But 485, about $500,000. And as we move forward here, 2 cents, which would be a $110 billion market cap. It's a little bit iffy. I would take 5.8 million or 116,000, another 5 million at 2.5 cents or 127,000. And then at 3 cents, it would be about 10 million or $300,000, totaling $1.28 million if we find a way to get to that 3 cent level. Now, if we see burns that are taking place, the only way that we can see some of these higher levels, because you would need to see a much lower supply than the 5.5 trillion. If you can lower that supply to billions, that opens up the door for so much progress and so much growth without having to compromise how much supply I do have. Depending on what it is, we can see. But if that was to decrease to 500 billion, now we start looking at these higher prices. Now we start looking at 9 cents. Now we start looking at 10 cents and going, okay, a 10 cent price point, $51 billion market cap, fully fully capable of getting to those levels, right? I can end up saying, all right, I'm gonna have 100 or 1 million that I take here, and it would be $100,000 there, or another 500,000 that I take here, another $100,000 there. So it really all depends on whether we can get there and how far we can see those burns. So I'm not saying that 100% that's a guarantee, and that's why you see majority of that is front loaded. I am taking out majority of my coins in the front end. And maybe this may change. It seems like a good plan now, but maybe this may change. I don't want to be greedy and know that if it does get up to 3 cents, I can have $1 million and I can easily put that in places that it can grow for me and it consistently make money over time for me. So I don't need to be greedy. But if I see that there's a plan in the works where you're going to decrease that supply over time, then this will change, right? This won't be as aggressive, as front loaded as it is, because I can be maybe a little bit more greedy with what I want to take in the end. But ultimately, if it does get to that point where it's about $1.75, right, I will have a total of $3.06 million there with $1 million left over, just in case something does happen, right? Something big does happen where, USTC repegs and, Terra Luna Classic has the ability to decrease that supply, increasing the price to $2, to $5, to $25, to $50, right? So the sky's the limit of what this can be. I just don't want to fully limit myself and say I can't gain something for the long term, but still accepting what could be in the short term, right? For an asset gainer, right? That's my plan right now. And things definitely may change as I have something more concrete, as we have more information, but that's where we stand right now. I want to know what you guys see within this. Do you see Terra Luna Classic getting to these higher prices? Maybe a 10% of a penny level, a 1 cent level, a 3 cent level, or do you not see it getting there at all? If you guys could, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also, make sure you check out some of the links down below. It does help out the channel. One link for BTCC, other links for Twitter and Patreon, all of those. And I'm going to get out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.